was so hoping that I could find the musical version of The Magical Mystery Tour of the Beatles and then sing over it the Tragical Bitchery Tour, but unfortunately I can't. Anyway, so far that, let's go on. Yes, another one about Black Lives Matter. Oh, this must be beautiful, mustn't it? Well, I don't know. But what I do find funny is the following thing. Black Lives Matter is no longer a purely American issue. It came to Europe to tell us Europeans how Black Lives Matter too. And one of the countries it was first active in was the United Kingdom. Because police violence and brutality to the black people, oof, oh, terrible. You know, in the police force in the United Kingdom, there are two basic sort of cops. There are officers that are allowed to have firearm, and there are officers who do not have a firearm. And the latter one is the more common one. So police officers in the United Kingdom don't really have guns unless you're on special duty where you need a gun. So it's already unlikely that the average black person in the UK will meet a cop with a gun. And if you do, it means you're in a specifically bad situation because the police felt it necessary to send a firearm cop to you, which means that the situation already is tense. And this was the case in how many deaths in the UK? Well, I don't know, but there is one person that has been killed in the end of 2015 that could be considered a black guy, I guess. This is Jermaine Baker. And Jermaine Baker, together with a few mates, planned on trying to get a few of their mates that were arrested and that were being transported from one prison to another area to free them. And whilst planning that, or whilst executing that, because that little bit is not really 100% clear to me, he, Jermaine Baker, was shot by a police officer who then had to go to court because discharging a firearm, even if you're a cop and you're allowed to do so, still can get you into court trouble. So there is that. This is the only black guy that is shot by a police officer in the United Kingdom in 2015-2016. Who knows, Black Lives Matter is going to UK, so it might change, it might get higher, but that's how it is now. Remember that. The amount of black people killed by the police in the United Kingdom is 1. And now I will follow up with Black Lives Matter.
Ayishat Akanbi joining us now from London. She's a public speaker, writer, and activist. We appreciate you joining us. So I just want to get your perspective and, ask you what this Black Lives Matter movement means to you, because there have been solidarity protests for this movement outside of the United States.
Yeah, well, they had to ask, didn't they? And she's going to give one of the whoppers of an answer. And this is... it would be dreadful if it wouldn't be so funny.
I think for a lot of people in the UK, the Black Lives Matter movement, we show our solidarity because although we don't face the exact same issues, there are many covert issues that replicate a lot of things that are happening in the States. And so although it may not be gun crime, or gun violence towards these people, people are definitely dying in police custodies. And this is a sentiment that resonates with us all.
Okay, remember what she's saying. We are not having the same experiences here, but they're almost the same because we have people dying in police custody. Okay, how many? Okay, so almost the same problems in America, and amongst these things she calls the death in police custody a major issue. Okay, so 2 seconds of my time and my amazing Google Foo powers came up with the following graph. I've linked it. No, I haven't linked it. I posted it in my movie. It's the graph you're seeing. Deaths in police custody in England and Wales from 2006 onwards to 2015. Scotland isn't on it. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but okay, fair enough. I don't think Scotland would double it, considering Scotland isn't as big as England, both in population and prison size. But let's pretend it does. Let's pretend if we would have added Scotland, it would have doubled the chart. Oh, by the way, that 5, that 10, and that 15 on the left side of the graph, that's in ones. It's not 5,000, it's not 50,000, it's not 100,000 times 5, it's 1. So the total amount of people dying in police custody in England and Wales, which is too many, don't get me wrong, I agree that there are too many, are 20. You heard it right. 20. The UK needs Black Lives Matter because 20 people died in custody. And among those people will have been suicides and heart attacks and natural causes, because those things actually still happen in the world. People die. That's kind of what happens. Not every death in police custody is to the blame of the police. Sometimes people just die. Heart attacks happen, people. People commit suicide. Hell, I work in psychiatric healthcare, and we still experience that no matter how good we try to prevent people from committing suicide, they sometimes still do. So, yeah, 20 people died in the custody in... Why again did we need Black Lives Matter? Sorry, Black Lives Matter in the UK? How many black people died in the UK from the police? Well, 1. How many black people died in the UK from crimes? Now this is an interesting one. Let's look at that one, shall we? I have to admit though, my Google Foo was pretty weak when it came finding the death numbers, the death toll, so to speak, of black people killed in England or in the UK. So these are the numbers I did come up with. In England and Wales, about 570 people have been murdered. Or, yeah, murdered. The Metropolitan Police estimates that about 10% of that is black. So that makes it 57. In Scotland, about 60 people were murdered. So let's say 10% of those are black as well. So that's 6. And in Northern Ireland, 22. Let's say again 10%. So that's 2. So that gives us a grand total of little less than 70 black people being killed in the United Kingdom, which roughly equates to 10%, which is, listen, 1 is too many. If he's black or white, doesn't matter. People shouldn't get killed. But we're talking about 10%. That's not a lot. But at the same time, the Metropolitan Police in London thinks that black people roughly equate for half of the crime, being gun crime, being robbery, being assault. That is inequality. Black people are more represented in crime in London. I mean, you can't bring up slavery as an excuse in London. The UK did not have slavery on its soil. So, why did you need Black Lives Matter again? You need to draw attention to how you're being mistreated, even though you are, once again, when it comes to crime, well overrepresented. But you're not even getting killed by the police. You're not even dying in massive numbers in police custody. 1 is too many, I agree, but we're not talking great numbers when we say that 20 people died in police custody in England and Wales, and let's say half of them were black. That's 10. The other half then automatically wouldn't be black, by the way, but they don't mind because it's only black lives that matter. I mean, right? Seriously, did you consider these numbers? Why do you need Black Lives Matter that much in the UK? It can't be because of the history, because, as I said, no slavery in the UK. It can't be because you're being disproportionately killed by cops, because 5 people were killed. One of them was black, and he was killed whilst planning to execute the freeing of some of his mates from prison. Well, prison transport. So, I'm sorry, that's not the average black person, is it? The average black person doesn't grab a gun to try and free his mate from a prison transport. I could be wrong, though. Maybe you are agreeing with that. That would be the average black person in the UK. I'm noticing I'm talking a lot now because you're upsetting me. Your lies, your stupidity is upsetting me. You are the people that basically tell white people this is why racism is a bad thing. But at the same time, you're also telling them it's okay to be racist against white people. And this double message will eventually lead white people to hate on black people. You hate white people, you feel they are oppressing you, therefore you oppress them, and it won't end well. All because of your Black Lives Matter narrative, which doesn't even fit here. Anyway, let's continue. See where you go with this one.
I'm just curious to know, how you react when you hear the hashtag Black Lives Matter on Twitter or, on Facebook, what have you, being taken out of context, and when you see the rival hashtags, Blue Lives Matter, which, refers to police, and also we've heard the other hashtag, All Lives Matter as well. I mean, what is your reaction to that? Do you think these other slogans, they minimize or trivialize the fact that so many, as President Obama says, black folks are far more vulnerable to these kinds of incidents?
Yes, thank you very much, CNN, for filling in the lies. And I know that your American president has lied about it too. I made a movie about it. Either the dude is lying or he's not doing his job right. Because what he's saying 100% contradicts the CDC and the FBI. And both of them are government organizations. So, I'm sorry. Obama is either a liar or a fraud or a fool. I'm going to leave it up to you to decide for that one. I don't really care much, but there is it. I'm sorry. Seriously? Does all lives matter? Black Lives Matter is trying to make it all about them, in America anyway. And in the UK, black lives also matter, just like all lives matter. But unlike America, in the UK, only 10% of the murder victims are black. And I have no idea, but I mean, 5 people have died because of police violence, and only one of them was black. So that would make it 20%. 20% of all the people killed by cops were black. One. And that one tried to free his mates. So there is that. In all fairness, though, the UK has amongst the lowest kill numbers, murder numbers, in the Western world. I mean, they even score below the Netherlands, and the Netherlands only have like a fraction of the amount of population. I mean, in the Netherlands, it's like 18 million. The United Kingdom alone is England alone is 56 million. So that's like 3 times as much. And that's not counting Northern Ireland, Scotland, and I think it's counting Wales though. So, okay, not counting Northern Ireland and Scotland, but counting Wales, they still have 3 times as much citizens as the Netherlands do. and they have only a fraction of the murders compared to the Netherlands. So, but let's let her tell why she feels that, yeah, it's a bad thing when people say all lives matter. I'm pretty sure she's going to do that.
Yeah, I think the issue is that people are steering issues that affect over half of the population into personal attacks. And I think that's where the discord is, in people thinking that we're saying Black Lives Matter discounts that their lives matter. And that's not what's happening at all. Just because Black Lives Matter doesn't discount the, Blue Lives Matter or All Lives Matter, but we are talking about a very specific issue that is evident to see. And I think in the sort of derailment with the hashtag, there's something underneath that which I think we should take a closer look at.
Yeah, no. I did check the underlying issue. At least the underlying issue Black Lives Matter pertains to. And that's, of course, governments killing black people, which doesn't really happen in England. Black people getting murdered in prison because they are being black by the police, which there is no proof of whatsoever. And even if there were, I'm sorry, England and Wales, 20 people died in jail in 2015. Half of them were black. That's only 10. It's still too many, don't get me wrong, but how is this a major issue? I mean, more people die in traffic every month than that. So are we now going to start the hashtag drivers' lives matter? Or passengers' lives matter? That's a good one. No, we're not going to do that, are we? I mean, that would be silly. But Black Lives Matter. And it's rubbish to say all lives matter, because the other 10 that die in prison aren't black, but they don't count. And it's only 10% of the people who get murdered that are black, so the other 90% don't count. And yes, 20% of the people that got killed by the police in the UK were black, but the other 80% was white. Okay, so it's still only 4, I know, but it's still 80%. So white lives should matter too. Therefore, all lives should matter. But that doesn't fit the narrative of Black Lives Matter. You know, the movie continues. I've had it with this one. I find myself being aggravated more and more because of the bullshit of Black Lives Matter. Hence my personal favorite hashtag for them being full of shit, or hashtag FOS. And that way you'd know it won't interfere with the hashtag BLM, which could stand for Black Lives Matter, but also for Blue Lives Matter. And, well, that's basically it, isn't it? I agree that all lives matter, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I think that the killing of anyone is a problem, whether they are black or whether they are white. I find that the narrative Black Lives Matter is pushing is creating more extreme right or more racist ideas, because they take the option of negotiating, of discussing things, totally off the table. You have to do what they say or they will shut down your event. This is not me saying, this is what they have actually done. They've threatened this at Toronto with the gay pride movement. They've done this at Bernie Sanders' presidential candidate for the Republicans. They've done it at his events. I can find more examples. I know I can. I'm not going to bother. Can we stop with these Black Lives Matter bullshits? Especially in the UK. What the fuck are you on about? The only black guy being shot by a police officer was trying to free his mate. And that police officer has been thoroughly investigated. It has become big news. Beyond me why, but it has. The UK, there are only a few Western countries with a lower murder rate than the UK. Seriously, these are the countries you want to bitch and moan about? Well, thanks again for proving why Black Lives Matter is full of it. and the hashtag full of shit is well deserved for them. And for everyone else, I'm going to end this here because it's a nice little rant, and I'm going to do something else soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. If you didn't, well, don't, but then at least leave me a comment on why you feel I misrepresented, sorry, I had to break my tongue on that one, the case of Black Lives Matter. It's not because I say it, therefore it must be true. I mean, if you have other ideas than me, I am more than willing to hear them, and who knows, maybe you convince me of me being wrong. Otherwise, maybe I convince you of why Black Lives Matter is such a hateful movement. Anyway, thank you, and see you all next time.